Hello students, good morning. This is Mr.Titus from Shalom classes. So students, today we are going to look about your CBSE book and chapter number 2, English Core. The book is Flamingo and you have chapter 2. The title of the chapter is Lost Spring. The stories of stolen child. So before explaining of this chapter, I would like to tell you something, the background of the author. So once again I tell you, this is for class 12 CBSE English Core. The book name is Flamingo, or chapter number 2, or the title of the chapter is Lost Spring. About the author. The author name is Anees Jung, 1964. She was born in Raulkela and spent her childhood in Hyderabad, and she was studied in Hyderabad as well as she was studied in United States of America also. Her parents were both writers. Anees Jung began her career as a writer in India. She has been an editor and columnist for major newspaper in India and abroad. So this was the short biography of the author Anees Jung. So actually I think her parents, both father and mother, so they were a writer, and that might be helpful for her to be as a writer or as a author. So I would like to tell you something about a spring. What do you know about lost spring, and what is the importance of spring? All of we like very much to spring season, and the spring season is a season, and that makes us very joyous, and that makes us very happy, and not only for human being, and you may see the birds and some other animals, and on that particular time you can see there different kind of insects also born that time, and also you may see that the flowers blooming, and there is no more hot or no more cold, and that is near of examination time, and that time it is very favorable for us for studying. All the things are beneficial or benefit for the spring season, and everybody likes the spring season. So here in this story, why it is called Lost Spring? Because this story is almost regarding to some boys and girls, and there are two parts in this story. First story is about a boy whose name is Sahib, and the second story there are two major characters. One is Mukesh and another is Sabita. So in this video lecture, so I will complete first part, and then after in next video I will complete second part. In this part we will look about Sahib and experience and the feelings of the author. So as I was mentioning, why the lesson is named as lost spring. According my idea or according my thinking, you may think that when there is a boy, one who's supposed to hold a pen, and one who's supposed to go to school for studying, but instead of that he is holding bag and a sack where he would collect garbage and put inside of it. But you are carrying a shoulder bag for your school, and instead of collecting garbage you are holding pen and you are studying. But that kind of opportunity that boy doesn't has. So instead of going school, instead of studying, he was collecting garbage, and he was also doing just like independent person. He was working just like independent person. Nobody was there to look after him. We do not know about his parents, and we do not know about his relatives. The time when he is supposed to care by others, the time when he is supposed to get affection and love by others, but such time he is living for himself, and he is struggling with the hungry, and he is struggling with about his hungriness, as well as he was struggling about money or about his livelihood. So that is why the lesson name is lost spring. That means he has lost something what he is supposed to do. That thing he didn't do. How supposed to he live? He didn't live like that condition. He lost his childhood. He lost his that he supposed to get when he was a child or when he was a boy. So let's begin this lesson, and I am going to tell you about summary of this chapter. So first of all, I have divided it into different titles, and the first title is there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 titles are there in part 1. So first title is that something I find a rupee in the garbage. Number 1. So in this section we see that the author sees Sahib every day searching for gold in the garbage dumps. So who is Sahib, and what is the identification of Sahib? Sahib is a small boy, and he have come from Bangladesh because there was a storm and a flood. Because of that reason, Sahib and his family lost their home, as well as they have lost their lands, farming lands. So because of that reason, they have come from Bangladesh to India, and they started to live here. And at the same time, when they have started to live here, they had no other work. Sahib had no other work, and he was picking garbage. So one day the author met to him and asked him, "Boy, why are you picking garbage instead of going to school?" The boy answered like this, "There is no school in my neighborhood. Otherwise, I supposed to go to the school. Would you like to make a school for us here?" Unknowingly or jokingly, he promised yes. But after she realized, so this promise is just like a political party. When the political party is always giving promise to the poor people but never acts. Like the same way, she also felt and she also experienced. She maybe feel the promise or not, there is no guarantee, but somehow she promised. Such way, when he met second time to the author, and he also asked, did you make the school? But there was no answer. Then second point is there, irony in Sahib's name and the mystery of remaining barefoot. Here, the author once again met to Sahib, and she asked about his full name. His full name is Sahib-e-Alam, which means Lord of Universe. Okay, you see, Sahib-e-Alam, the meaning of the name is Lord of Alam, Lord of Universe. You know, the name is very depth. The name of the meaning, or the meaning of the name is very depth and very big, very high. Even the child is doing just something just like a beggar. He is collecting garbage and he is selling and getting something, and through that money he is managing to his family. That was his occupation and that was his work. So here is another thing, the boy doesn't know what is the meaning of the name. You know, sometimes we have Ram, Lakshman, Shyam, many names are there. So somebody has a name of Ram, if he is working like, Gunda, or he is stealing, or he is doing something, it is meaningless. He might have not know the real meaning of name. That is why he is doing such work and such activities. So anyway, I am not going to make it long. So let us know that another important thing is there. So the boys, those who are working with Sahib, and those who are going with Sahib to collecting the garbs and the collecting the wastage materials, they don't use sandals or slippers. When the author asked to the boy, another boy, the boy answered like this, my mother is not bringing that, even that is in the self. Even that is in the self. Then after, another boy is saying that he wants to wear the shoes, and because of that reason he doesn't use sandals or chappals. And here another boy mentioned that about the property, and finally she could understood that that is not about their property, but that become their tradition and that become their culture, and because of that reason they were not, or they are not wearing any shoes, or they were not wearing sandals, or they were not wearing chappals. So that was the thing she understood, and that made her very pain. That made her very pain. So the third point is, author pained by the fact that rag pickers are still barefoot. Rag pickers are not using sandals or chappal, and they are always roaming with barefoot or barefoot. That was the painful thing for her. She remembered about her childhood incident. 30 years ago, there was a boy, or there was a son of a priest, Hindu priest, Once he prayed to God for shoes. You know, the priest, they usually never use sandals because they have worshipping in the temple, and that reason they don't use sandals or slippers. Most of the time they walk in barefoot. If you go to South India, there are many temples and you can see the priest, they are not wearing sandals. When they are out of their occupation, means when they are out of the temple, they use that, but most of the time they don't use. It is something mystery, and it is something difficult to have a sandal or slipper to a son of a priest. But even he prayed to his God after 30 years when he met in Udupi. Okay, then she has seen that the boy name is Udupi. When she has seen him, so after 30 years he had shoes. So like the same way, they're supposed to have shoes, but they don't have shoes yet. They don't have slipper yet. They don't have sandals yet. They don't have chapel yet, because they don't want to take that. So the fourth point is rag pickers based on Simapuri. You know, Simapuri is a place that is nearby, that is in Delhi, but it is little bit, that is something, a little bit, apart from the Delhi, but inside Delhi, but little bit far from the Delhi. So most of the people, when in 1971, almost 10,000 people came there and they started to live there. So I do not know what is the real figure, but here it's mentioned about 10,000 rag pickers have been living for past 30 years. Means in 1971 they have come here and they started to live there. The number is increasing day by day, and almost during the time of the author there were almost 10,000 rag pickers. They have no good, home, and they had no good path. There is no facility of drinking water. There is no, facility of drainage. Everywhere there are heap of garbage, and the people have no identification. They have ration card, and they can vote. And they can put their vote, they can cast their vote to some political parties, but they have no any identification. Their life is very miserable and very sorrowful. Somehow they are getting food, but their main occupation by the ration card, but their main occupation is to collect garbage. That is the main occupation. Okay, so if you hear my lecture about school classroom in a slum, okay, that my first video lecture. If you listen or if you see the video, then you can understand how the slum is and how the people of slum are living. If you have time, you can watch that video also. Then you can understand the real condition of slum, because more I explained about slum in that particular video lecture. Then as for the parents, this is their occupation, but as for the children, it is wrapped in wonder. The next point, fifth number point, that is here the author sees him in a watching, Sahib was watching tennis playing, and he wore shoes. That means her dream came true. Once he told, I will wear shoes, and but now he wears shoes and somehow he was watching tennis. The author thought that somebody have been thrown that shoes, and he might have collected and he wear that. Somehow he wear, somehow he used, and that made her little bit, that made her little bit, happy. He was wearing tennis shoes, or which were probably discarded by a rich boy, or these shoes mismatched with his faded cloth. Through one of the shoes has hole in it. It did not bother Sahib. For Sahib, who was walked his whole life barefoot, it is like a dream came true. Somehow the shoes may be, broken shoes, that there may be a hole, but he is wearing that. He doesn't think about the shoes that may be looking beautiful or not. The last point is Sahib lost his freedom. One morning the author met Sahib when he was working on the milk boat. He was carrying a steel canister. He told the author that he was now working at a tea stall and was paid 800 rupees and all his meals. He did not look happy. In fact, his face had lost its earlier carefree look. The steel canister seemed heavier than the plastic bag he carried earlier. Sahib felt it burdened, for he had lost his freedom. The canister belonged to the owner of the tea stall where he worked now, whereas the plastic bag was his own in earlier days. At least he was his own master. There is difference. Previous, he was working independently. There was no fixed salary and there was no free food. Okay, but according to his will, he was working. The next incident is that now he is, working in a tea stall. He is getting fixed salary, 800 rupees per month. At the same time, he is getting food also. But the work is not his own work. He is under a master. He is working under of a master. Now he has a master, but previous he was a master. That is the difference. And he lost his independence. He lost his mastership. Now he became a worker and working under a master. So this is the complete summary of Sahib. Need to remember once again, I will tell you the 6th point. The author meets Sahib, the rag picker, irony in Sahib's name and the mystery of remaining barefoot. Then 3rd point, the author pained by the fact that rag pickers are still barefoot. Then 4th point, we have seen about Simapuri. Rag pickers Bashan Simapuri. Then next point, 5th point is that an instance of a child's desire for a normal childhood. Then final point, 6th point, Sahib lost his freedom. And the next video we will look about Mukesh, and also we will look about Savita. Thank you. May God bless you. If yet you haven't subscribed my channel, please subscribe it. And if you have any queries, or if you have any question or any problem, you can comment me also. Thank you. May God bless you.